Okay, so on the agenda tonight, we have Andrew Ward. We'll be talking about how to negotiate with builders on behalf of your client. We have several questions that I'm going to be asking him regarding speaking with builders and interacting with builders. And then Andrew has some tips, and then we have a Q&A session, or Q&A follow-up at the end. So Andrew Ward, he's our guest speaker, and he has over 10 plus years experience selling new homes. He has sold over 300 new homes in his career, his 10-year career. In the first 6 years, he was a new home sales consultant, and then he joined Texas Realty, and he's been with us for 4 years. And that is his email contact information and his nice looking picture on the right-hand side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The way this webinar is going to work is I'm going to be asking Andrew some questions, and then he's going to respond and give his knowledge and insight on those particular questions. So one thing is when you meet with a client and a builder, many of us have never had that experience before. There are specific questions that you should be aware of and be knowledgeable. And that way you can help your client understand the buying and building process. So Andrew, thank you for joining our webinar. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
So we have several questions that I would like to ask you. Is there a lot of customization that buyers can do on these new builds?
It varies. So you have your first time home buyer builders like D.R. Horton, Lennar Homes, where they basically they build the house and they build it as an inventory home, and there's pretty much no customization. It's typically a price range between like $280 right now and like $350. And then you have your higher end builders that are like your trend makers or Weston Homes, where people are not just going to take what they get. So because they're going to be spending $800 to $1 million on a house. So you would pick a lot, pick a floor plan, go to the design center, pick out all your selection, structural options and everything like that. And then they would build it, and that would take anywhere from, depending on the size of the house, on like a 2,500 square foot house, it would take probably like 6 to 8 months. On a 5,000 square foot house, it could take anywhere from a year to 18 months.
Yeah. And that's the next question is, how long does it usually take? So you answered that question. So thank you. What type of warranty do you provide, or does builders provide for these houses? Is it like the same as a resale house?
No, it's a little bit different. So the standard builder warranty is a 1 to 10-year warranty. So for the 1 year, it would be like a front to back warranty. Anything that happens in the house in that year will be fixed. Like if a knob breaks off or a towel bar comes off, something like that, that was installed by the builder, they will fix it, and that will be good for 1 year. And then they have a 2-year mechanical warranty, which would be electrical and plumbing. Basically, if there was a leak or an electrical issue, like a GFI switch or something like that, that would be covered for 2 years. And then there would be a 10-year foundation warranty, and that's a bonded warranty. So if there was a foundation default, they have like an insurance company that would come in and remedy that.
Okay, nice. Is there a registration process for realtors? Do we need to be present at an initial meeting? Because I mean, we do want to make sure that our commission is secure with our clients. So how does that work?
So it could work a couple different ways. And I'll give you 2 different examples. So if I was meeting a client off of one of my ads where I was promoting some new construction, and I was going to a builder that I've never been before, and I was meeting a sales counselor that I've never met before, I 100% would be there at the first visit. And if I met someone and I was sending them somewhere to a builder that I've done, to a sales counselor that I've done like 5 or 6 deals with already, then, and I'm super, super busy, then I'll just send them out to talk to the lady because I know they'll take care of me. But that's only if I'm super busy. I think the best customer service is to always go to every single one of your appointments.
Great, great, great. What's included in the base price? Like, we assume that whenever we walk in to a model home that they have, we think that everything that's in there is part of the base price, or is that not the case?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. So we'll just say KB Home versus DR Horton. DR Horton would be everything's included. You're getting refrigerator, blinds, washer, dryer, sprinkler system, front yard, backyard sod. Hard surface floors, whether it's hardwood floors or ceramic tile throughout the entire home. Now, if you go to a KB home, you're not getting any of that, but the base price is going to be lower per square foot.
I see. Okay.
You would at that point go to the design center and do a build process with a KB home.
I got you. What kind of incentives are builders offering to our buyers?
It really depends on how bad they want to sell houses. So one community, I know they have like 35 inventory homes and they're not moving. So they're offering all closing costs paid, reduced pricing, full appliance package, everything. And then across the street, maybe like a couple miles down the road, they have a community where they can't keep these houses. They can't even keep these houses past frame stage. So you wouldn't get that type of same incentive package because the houses are just moving much quicker. I hope that answers the questions about the incentives.
Yeah, and like I know they have floor plans that the builders have, can they be built on every lot, or are there restrictions?
So typically, I'll keep it between a 300 and 800 price range. You have your 50-foot, 60-foot, 70-foot, and 80-foot lots. Typically on, like, I'll just give you an example. On a 50-foot lot that is 125 feet deep, you can't put a 2,000 square foot 1-story on it because that's a huge footprint. But you can put a 2,500 square foot 2-story because the footprint is half the size. So there are typically going to be situations where you can't just put any square or like any floor plan on any lot. And then there's other instances where if you put a specific floor plan on one lot, you have to count 2 lots down before you can put the next same floor plan. So you can't put 2 of the same exact houses right next to each other.
Oh, right.
The developers won't allow that.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's good. As far as amenities, are they amenities? Like, for example, I've seen playgrounds or I've seen a pool. Are they usually included in the community?
It all depends on how much the HOA is. So I'll give you an example. There's like a master plan community that you pay $1,200 or $950 a year for an HOA fee to live there. You're going to get playgrounds, walking trails, water features, swimming pools. Now, if you go to a community where you're paying $300 for the HOA is basically just going to make sure everyone mows their lawn. You're not going to get any extra amenities.
I see. Okay.
So that's going to be the difference.
Right. And I think we spoke about customization. So I would think upgrades, things like that. Right. How much can we do as far as customization? Is there a particular thing that we can do, or can, like, colors of the inside, or carpet, all that kind of stuff?
So if you do, there's a difference between a custom home and a to-be built. So a to-be built would be a floor plan that has structural options that you could add to it. So there might be like 2 or 3 different type of elevations. The way the front of the house looks is what an elevation is. And then there might be a covered patio option. And then there might be a separate tub and shower in the master bedroom option. Those would be options on a to be built. Now, a custom home, you could go to a builder like Castle Rock Communities, which has an off-brand called Mercury Custom Homes. And for the right amount of money and architect fees, you can draw your own home and they'll build it for you on your own lot. And I mean, it can get into the million, like into the, 900 to 1.2 million. And that would be like a custom home. And then you can really just go in and do whatever you want.
Wow, nice. But of course it costs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if I asked you this question, how long does it usually take to build a new home?
So a house that's 2,500 square feet or less, it will take about 6 to 8 months in the current market. A house that's anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 square feet, it would take anywhere from probably like 10 months to maybe 14 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so if the if the buyers are thinking about moving fast from an apartment or whatever, they're gonna have to in consideration go, well, it could be 12 months before you get it.
Well, if they're moving from an apartment, what you basically do is you take them to a community that is an inventory builder community, and they're a first-time home buyer, and you get them something that's going to be finished in 30 days, and then we line it up with when their lease is going to be up.
Okay, so that's a good tip.
Yeah.
What type of contracts required from a brokerage? Do we use builder contracts? Do we use TREC forms?
So all the builders will have their own contracts, and it's very important. This is something that's very important if you folks are looking in the future to be selling some new homes, is to always make sure to look at the special provisions and look at the co-broke agreement. So there's a co-broke agreement and there's a builder contract to make sure that if the sales counselor say, oh, we're going to give your client owner's title policy and $7,500 in closing costs, and we're going to give you 4% plus $5,000 BTSA, that you make sure that you find that in the contract and make sure you have the sales counselor show that to you in the contract before you sign it. The client can sign it, but if you don't sign off on it, then it's not a valid contract. So it goes to the client's hand first, and then it goes to the agent's hand, and then it goes to the builder's hand to be executed. So you need to do your due diligence and make sure you look over that they're getting the deal that they said that was negotiated with the sales counselor and or manager.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's very important. People have been burned before.
I bet. Good tip. I've heard about this PID tax and MUD tax. First, I don't know what PID means or MUD means, but are builders adding more taxes? I don't understand this PID stuff.
Okay, so a PID is a public improvement district, and a MUD is a municipal utility district. And typically it's a tax that is paying for the development of the land. So if you're buying a new home, you're buying it in a new development. Usually the developer is going to have a bond amount that it costs to put in the sewage system, the power lines, the internet cables, everything, to basically fully develop, clear the land, fully develop the utilities. And there's going to be a certain amount of money that it costs. And it usually takes, it's a tax. So MUD is a tax that you can escrow that into your payment. PID is not escrowable. You have to pay that at the end of the year. So it takes up anywhere from 25 to 30 years. Once everyone's moved into the development and is paying this for about 25 to 30 years, that's about how long it takes for it to go away. So if you were to pull the tax rate on a community, like I'll give you an example, like South Shore Harbor in League City, there's parts of South Shore Harbor that no longer have MUD taxes. If you pull the tax rate in Tuscan Lakes, it's going to be another 15 to 20 years probably before that goes away. So you're going to see a difference in about 1%.
Okay.
Of the appraised value of the home.
Good to know. I didn't know they disappeared after it was fully developed. Was this caused too because of Hurricane Harvey and all that? Was that a reason for the PID taxes? or no?
No, they've actually been there before that,
Oh,
because
okay,
I remember that I was actually selling a community that had a PID
okay,
before Harvey. It's
okay, cool.
been there for a long time. Yeah.
One thing that concerns us is the appraisals. It was a seller's market last year. Now it's going to be a buyer's market. What happens if the property doesn't appraise on what the contract was agreed to? Can we negotiate that? How does that work with the builder?
So it can go two different ways. In the contract with the builder, and I can't speak for every single contract, but
Right.
90 plus percentage of these builder contracts, it says that the client or customer is required to pay the sales price of the home. But it's really going to come down to how bad the builder wants to sell that house. So
Right.
I'll give you an example. If someone comes in there on an FHA loan, 3.5%, the builder's covering all their closing costs. All they have is the 3.5% to close on the home, and the appraisal value comes in 20% lower. Right now in this current market, the builder's probably going to discount the house 20% or $20,000. I didn't mean to say 20%, I meant 20,000.
Right.
The builder's going to discount it to make it so that the appraisal will meet the loan amount, and they'll be able to get the deal closed because of the current market that we're in. Now, a year and a half ago, when people were just buying houses like crazy, and there was bidding wars that were going $40,000-$50,000 higher, the builder would have just canceled the contract and resold it the next day to someone else that's willing to pay $15,000 or $20,000 over appraisal value.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, the builder is protected, and the customer is required to pay the contract price that they sign off on.
Okay. Interesting. Is there a website where I can see all these builders and areas, and what's a good website?
If you really want to like scope out, there's two different ways I do it. If I'm trying to find something that I want to market, like if I need to sell a house this month and that could close next month, and I'm looking for like a really good deal, there's two different ways I'll do it. I'll either go to newhomesource.com and pull up some different communities, and then make some phone calls and see what type of inventory the sales counselor has, and see what type of incentives that they're offering. Or what I can do also is go to map search on HAR, and then go into the settings and click 2022 as the year of the minimum year. And then all it's going to do up is pull new build inventories.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And it will show you where they are on the map, and then you can put it in criteria like, all right, 250 to 350,000.
Right.
And then it will populate a list of all the new builds that are under construction already. And you can do it either of those ways. And I've done it both of those ways in order to find good deals for my clients.
And that's in the tax records and matrix?
No, on HAR.com.
Oh, HAR. Okay.
Map search. Just do a map search and put in 2022 or now 2023 as the minimum year, and it will pull up everything that's listed that's brand new on the map. And then you can just click around and see which houses are available.
Oh, nice. Good tip.
For the new builds. Yeah, I do that all the time.
Great. Can the buyers hire a home inspector? And do we hire them before closing, after closing? Can we negotiate? What goes on in that situation?
So this is my opinion on it. You can do it two different ways. Me personally, I think the best way to do it is, since I talked earlier and spoke on the 1-year front to back warranty on the home. These houses are built, and when these houses are built, they get about 30 city and county inspections. So the houses aren't going to fall apart. So I recommend for my clients at like month 9 or 10 to hire a home inspector, because then the house is going to be 9 or 10 months old. And then they'll find a huge laundry list of items, small items, nothing crazy. And then they just submit a warranty request. and then it's like a punch list, and then they can knock it all out right before the 1 year warranty is about to end. Other realtors, they do recommend, a lot of realtors that don't have maybe the experience, or they're just nervous about the builder, because then there are also some builders out there that are questionable, but I won't get into that. Then you can run the inspection at the time of the first walkthrough.
Okay.
So there's 2 walkthroughs. You typically do 1 walkthrough 1 week before closing, and then you do your final walkthrough either the day before closing or the day of closing before you go to the title company to close on the home.
Okay. What happens if buyers request upgrades and then they back out of the deal? Do they have to pay for those upgrades?
Yeah, on option deposits, yes. On earnest money, it depends on why. So there's a difference between earnest money and option deposits. If you're doing a to be built, you put down option deposits at the design center.
Oh, okay.
That is typically always non-refundable no matter what.
Okay.
Earnest money is just a lump sum of cash in order to start the process, and that can be refunded if you were somehow, if your financing fell out. Basically, if you could no longer finance because the interest rate went up 2% and now you don't qualify for the home, they would give you your earnest money back, but they would keep your option deposits.
Can buyers use their own lenders? And what happens if the lenders can't close on time? I heard something about they charge $100 per DM, which is per day, until we close.
Okay, so buyers can use their own lenders, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you go into, I'll give you an example. If you go into DR Horton and buy a house with your own lender, you're not going to get the $7,500 closing cost incentive. You're not going to get the discounted 4.75% rate that they're offering right now. And they're going to make you fill out an application anyway, just to make sure that you're qualified. Okay. If you still opt to use your own lender, which the interest rate right now is probably like 6.5%, 7%, like fluctuates in between there weekly. If you somehow still opt to use your own lender and the house is finished and you don't close on time, you could extend for 30 days. And that typically is 1% of the sales price of the home to get another 30 days. Or say if you need like 7 or 10 days, then you could do a $100 per day extension. Usually you would pick what is most economical for you.
Okay. So it sounds like the tip is, let's try to use their own lender.
Yeah, use their lender because they're going to give you a lower interest rate and they're going to pay for your closing costs and your owner's title policy.
And you can always refinance later if the interest rate drops some more. So
yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And they accept conventional FHA, VA, first time buyers programs, things like that.
Right now, builders are staying away from, they'll do conventional FHA, VA, but they're staying away from any type of bond programs because the interest rates are like really, really elevated on them. Okay. Anything with 0 down right now is like 8-9%. And it's just the payment doesn't make any sense. So typically first time home buyers, 95% of them go FHA, 3.5% down.
What about flood insurance and elevation surveys? What is all that? Is that requirements?
So for the flood insurance, the flood zone X is not required flood insurance. But if you buy a house in a flood zone X, it's usually only like $400 or $500 a year. And I know during Harvey, a lot of homes that were built in flood zone X that didn't have flood insurance ended up getting flooded, and it was just, I mean, they really, really wish they would have just bought it for the $400 or $500 a year. It may be a little bit more now, like $600, but it's nothing over $1,000. Now, if you buy a house in like a flood zone OA or like 100-year floodplain or something that's in a high risk zone, then it could be like a couple $1,000s, and it's going to be required. The bank's going to make you get that to loan you the money.
Are the builders providing appliances like washer, dryers, refrigerators?
So, like for example, DR Horton and Lennar are like everything included. So they'll give you washer, dryer, refrigerator, appliances, everything. But if you go to like KB Home, they don't even have even if you wanted to buy appliances for them, they don't even have them in stock. They can't get them because of supply line shortages. So it really just depends on the builder.
Okay.
Do you still want me to answer the question about the elevations
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
survey? The elevation survey is done by the developer, so it ends up tying into the mud PID tax. So like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they'll have to do an elevation survey, especially now since post Harvey. They have to bring in a lot more dirt and build up the land, and they also have to put deeper reservoirs into these communities that develop. So that all ends up going into the bond for like the PID or the mud that's going to end up being paid by the people that end up living there down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And any tips for us as new agents or even seasoned agents? And we have never been involved in new sales of homes. Anything that the gotchas that we need to be aware of?
If if you want to get I guess the best tip that I could give is you want to get the best deal possible for your client, especially if you're buying a new home in this market. Specifically, it's even more important because builders are dying to sell houses. So if you're gonna say there's 3 communities that are all within like a 1.5 mile radius, and there's 3 different 1-stories that your client may like, you always want to go in there and get the best deal possible from each one, and then figure out which one your client likes the most, and then go back to that one that your client likes the most, and like without your client with you, and say, look, they're going to go buy that house over there because they're offering this. What can you do? What can you do better? Because they slightly like this house better, but it's such a big price difference that there's got to be something you can do. So if you can get with your manager and get back with me and let me know the best possible deal that you can give, I think we might be able to come write a contract tonight or tomorrow morning. And that is typically how you get the best deal on a new home for your client.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a car dealership.
Oh, I mean, sales is sales, right? So,
Yeah. No,
I
that's good.
mean,
That's good.
that's the best possible tips I can give. Have a strong social media presence.
Like you said, use that
Yeah,
newhomesource.com.
yeah.
Can we promote in our own social media a builder's,
Photos, yeah, you
yeah,
can. Yeah, yeah, you can.
but
You don't.
not the inside of the house, only the outside?
You can promote the builder's photos not on the MLS, but you can promote it on like Instagram,
Really?
Facebook. You can promote it on other platforms, but you can't do it on like har.com or Zillow or anything like that without their permission and
Of course.
a signed agreement with them.
But
So you can go
but
up to a builder. Hold on a second. You can go up to a builder and say, "Hey, can you give me a listing?" And they'll say, "Yeah, sure. Okay, sign this listing agreement," and then you can list a new home for a builder. Or you can just take the photos and put it on like your Facebook or your Instagram and put your phone number at the bottom and say, "Call me." And
okay.
you don't need a listing agreement to do that.
But do you have to say KB Home or Pulte Home? Do you have to say any of that kind of stuff?
No, no. In
Okay.
fact,
Just say new home on such and such area, call me kind of thing.
hold on, what did I just do? Did I just leave the meeting?
No, I can still
Am I
hear.
still here?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Here, I will just give you a quick example real quick.
Okay. You're trying to share something or what?
No. I'll just tell you some verbiage.
Oh, okay.
That works.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, while Andrew's setting up, if you guys would like to ask a question, you just make sure that your devices are on mute, and then we'll be glad to answer your questions. Okay, Andrew, are you ready? You said?
Okay, so just to give you a quick example before you guys start asking questions, the last post I did, and I sold two, I have 2 deals that I'm working on with it right now that are probably gonna write, and I did sell one and they paid me 6% commission. So
Nice.
all I said on here was new homes, new homes, house emoji, 288, Highway 6, price reduced 40 to 50K, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, only 249K move-in ready, financing with low interest and closing costs paid. It's time. This buyer's market won't last forever. Give me a call if you have any questions about the process. We do lease buyout programs on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. And do you post a picture of the house that's from the new builders, or just or is it like the front of the subdivision of the new builders?
No, I'll post an actual house. So like
Okay.
I'll just
Okay.
pull professional photos.
Okay.
And the sales counselors, they love me. They want me to do it. Like they send me the photos to post. So it's everything's above board. It's all on the up and up.
Cool.
So
Well, thank you, Andrew, for that. And that's several tips that we got. Like I said, if anybody wants to ask Andrew a question, he's an expert in selling brand new houses. And we are entering into our season of real estate. Usually begins around March 1st and ends around August 30th. So this could be a part of your goal settings of 2023. So if you can unmute your devices and ask a question, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Mia. Okay, I just got a contract, and this is my first new constructions with a builder, and then it's a DR Horn. And then so you mentioned about the walkthrough. Can you explain that again?
okay, so
I want to hire the right inspector because the house is almost almost finished. They say if the electric comes, that will be like maybe March or April to complete the house.
so are the electrical lines not in yet in the community?
Yeah, so we just went out yesterday, and then the buyer liked it, and then so we submit the, what is it called, earnest money. So we got a contract, but we still have to look around, just read the contract and to see any change or something like that. And then so I'm just wondering the walkthrough.
So what they'll do is once they finish the house, they're gonna finish the house, and then they'll make it so it's 99% complete. They'll put appliances in and everything. And then what will happen is the construction manager will go through and do a punch list. And so he'll write down like 100, sometimes 80 to 100 to 120 items that need to be fixed on the house for it to be considered a stage 10 complete house. And then so once they're done with that punch list, then they'll do the walkthrough. So that way, when your client walks in there, they're just looking for paint touch up. They're not looking for anything crazy. And that will happen 1 week before closing.
And I think you said that there's 2 walkthroughs, right? One is 1 week before closing, and then one is one final walkthrough. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, so the first walkthrough will be like 1 week before closing, and they'll go in there, and what's going to happen is the construction manager will demonstrate the home, teach you how to use the AC unit properly, because they have like these new smart home feature panels, show you how to work everything, and then they'll give you a roll of blue tape, and then they'll walk around with you and look at each wall from top to the bottom. And then if there's like any type of blemish or anything that needs to be fixed, then they'll put a piece of blue tape on it. Then you'll walk around the house, and if there's any like hardy plank on the house that may look shabby or cracked or something like that, they'll put a blue piece of tape on it. and then they'll have their crews go in there and fix everything. And then either the day before closing, or the day of closing, depending on what time you close. So if you're closing at like 4 p.m., they'll probably have you over there at noon. If you're closing in the morning, then they'll probably have you there, you know, in the morning, the following day. And basically the second walkthrough is just for you to go through and make sure they fixed everything that you guys marked down with the blue tape.
I have another question.
Yeah,
Is
go
it
ahead, Maya.
okay to call the title company on the buyer behalf, like, because my buyer have some closing costs, and then because when we talk to the on-site agent, he say they're gonna cover all the closing costs, and then another one.
So how much did he give you, a dollar amount?
Yeah, the 4,016. How to say that? 4,016. Yeah,
Okay, so the house is $416,000.
yeah,
Okay, and then did he tell you how much closing costs he was going to give you?
yeah. 4,000, around 4,000. Let me check again.
Okay, so I know for sure they're going to pay your owner's title policy, but you need to pull the contract up and
Mhm.
make sure, because it's weird for them to give 1% of the sales price. They probably gave you like 7,500 or something like that. Maybe they either gave you like 5,000 or 7,500 and are paying your owner's title policy. So I would recommend taking a look at the contract on the first couple pages, and it will give you a dollar amount.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like on the, because I've done a lot of DR Horton contracts. It's on like the second or third page, and it will give you a dollar amount of closing costs. And then I would assume if the house is 416,000, then you're doing a conventional loan, or is it FHA?
That's a cash buyer.
Oh, it's a cash buyer. Okay, that's why they're only giving you 4,000. So they probably gave you money off of, the house and only gave you enough for the owner's title policy. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's okay, Maya.
Yeah, no, that's okay. If it's a cash buyer and they gave you $4,000 and the house is like $400,000, they're just covering your OPT, because there's no other closing costs for a cash buyer that I know of.
If
So,
they mention about the up to, for example, the closing cost is up to 4,000, and then if something extra, so the buyer have to pay the extra.
how much earnest money did the buyer put down? Do you remember?
2,000. Can I say it? Can I say the number in here?
Sure.
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead. We don't even know the house address.
Yeah, we don't know the buyers or anything.
Yeah.
2,500, and then he just submitted that yesterday.
So you put 2,500. So you put $2,500 down cash, and they're paying owner's title policy.
And the seller, yes.
There shouldn't be any other charges. Then he'll probably get some of that credited back towards the sales price of the home, because
Yeah.
I don't think you escrow a cash purchase. You usually just pay the taxes and insurance at the end of the year.
Okay. And what should I do? Like, because I do not do the contract. The on-site agent do it. And what should I do? And to help the buyer in between. How should I communicate?
Where is the house at
it-
in the building process right now?
The house we went there is
You said there's no electrical.
there's no electrical, and then there's a the only that's a big problem right now. And other than that, everything house is built already, and they're on the HAR too.
I have a question. Is there no electrical because there's no electrical to that house, or is there no electrical because
The community,
they didn't put any electricity in the entire section?
yes.
Okay, that could turn into a nightmare. So I would have extra backup options just in case that could turn into a nightmare, because that is a city problem. That is not a builder problem. The builder cannot control when the city decides to come in and put the electrical lines into the subdivision.
Amaya, I think
I don't understand this part, so what should I do?
Well, right now I would get weekly updates from the sales counselor. And what community is it?
Foster Ridge, and then I think 1488.
It's Foster's Ridge. Okay. I'm kind of familiar. I'm familiar with that.
hey, Andrew, I don't want to like drag this too much, but
Okay,
I think it's better if Maya just communicates with me, and then if we need to talk some more.
I think, yeah, you're right. Go. Yeah.
Maya, if you can just communicate, you have my contact information, right?
Yes,
Okay, just listen, let's talk about this either tomorrow or someday, just to kind of make sure that you're all, but we'll go through me first, and then I can engage Andrew on the call.
okay, thank you
Yeah,
so
because
much.
I think we need to be very careful what's happening here. I'm already
I
getting
agree with you.
I'm already getting an ugly feeling in my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Maya, get a hold of me tomorrow, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
But these are good questions. Thank you for bringing it up, because that's why we have the expert here, so he can help guide us. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes,
I
sir.
just want to know, based on Andrew's experience, clients, they do ask, who's the best builder? So can you please let us know who's the best?
Who's the best and who's the worst? Hey, you should also ask who's the
Warranty,
worst.
customer service, everything.
I honestly think the best builder is the one that's offering the best deal at the time, because every single one of these houses is going through 25 to 35 city and county inspections. These houses are built incredibly well. They're all built with post-tension foundations. They're all over-engineered for windstorm if they're in a windstorm area. So I wouldn't worry about who the best builder is. I worry about who's giving you the best deal. That's my answer.
Got it.
So you don't want to give us your favorite, Andrew? It's being recorded.
I think that I like DR Horton for value. I think DR Horton has a good value, but I'm not saying that they're better than any other builder.
Right.
But they do give a good value. They give a good product at a good value.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Those are good questions. I would have never.
Thank you.
I would have never thought about that question. But that's a good one. That's a bonus, right? Bonus question. Any other questions for Andrew Ward?
I have one question. I know we were talking about as far as like the social media aspect, as far as like pictures and that kind of thing. Are we able to go in, I guess, and ask the builder if we can kind of do some content or whatever in one of the houses that may be ready, like new inventory houses? Are we allowed to do that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, so what I would do if I were you, if you wanted to start selling more new homes, I would go and find a builder in the location that you want to sell the homes at. So like, let's say you live in Katy and you want to sell houses in Katy. I would go meet all the sales counselors and get their inventory lists and ask them individually if you could do some Facebook marketing or Instagram marketing or, something for them to help them move some of their inventories, and ask them, do you have a highlight home that you need moved more than faster, that your manager wants you to move faster than some other homes? And they will love you for it. They will be 100% on board and give you whatever you need, whatever information you need to get you to do that. They want you to do that. They don't not want you to do that. So yes, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
And Langston, that's a good question. Maybe you can set it up where every Thursday you put feature house of the week, make it some kind of event. And then one of the builders says, oh yeah, I really need you to push this one. And then the following week, feature house of the week. And then people will start following you because they're going to go, oh, I wonder what Langston's going to post for feature house of the week. You almost become sort of like a celebrity.
That's a great idea.
I love it. Thank you Fernando. I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's make some money, guys. That's why we have Andrew here. And
Can I
then
ask a question real quick,
yeah,
Andrew?
go
Hey,
ahead.
what-
Of course, you guys got me until you don't need me anymore.
Thanks. What is the tip on getting the model home with everything included? Any tips on that?
That's a good question.
Like, what do you mean? Like buying the model home?
Yeah, buying the model home.
If you want to buy the model home and okay, what to
So a
buy the
lot of
model
times-
home, this is how you got to buy the model home. You got to
Yeah, a lot of times your clients see the model home and it's like, has extra features that your
Mhm.
spec bills wouldn't have. So they want that model home.
yeah,
Is
and
there a trick to getting it?
there actually is, the model homes have stuff that you can't even get at the design center. So I've sold a couple model homes, and this is how you have to do it. If your client really wants the model home, they have to be willing to sign they have to come in and figure out how many years you need that model home for. So I'll give you an example. If I'm in a model home in a model park and I have 70 lots and I have to sell those 70 lots, and I'm speaking from a sales counselor perspective, not a realtor's perspective, and someone comes in and wants to buy the model home, I have to call my boss and ask him, hey, how many years do you think it's going to take me for us to build out these 70 lots? Because I have someone that wants to buy the model home and they're willing to do a lease back on it. So you'd have to buy the model home cash and do, like, say he said it's going to take us 4 years to be finished with this project. You would have to buy it cash, and we would then essentially lease it back to you for 1% of the sales price. So if the model home's 500,000 and you buy it cash 500,000, then we'll give you $500,000 from the builder. Will give you $500,000 a month in rent, and then once we're done with it, then you can have it and move into it.
You mean you're like an instant landlord?
Yeah. So like I sold a model home in Westwood. It's in League City, and it was a 4-year deal where we paid them, I think it was like $4,700 a month. They wanted that model home so bad. They bought it cash, and we paid them like $4,700 a month for 4 years until we were done selling out and building out the entire community. And then when we moved out, we retrofitted the garage back into a driveway.
Right.
That was part of the deal. So you know how they have the garage and it's like a sales office that you walk through. So we retrofitted the garage back into it, and then we gave them the keys. And
Wow.
yeah, so that's how, if you want to buy a model home, that's how you buy a model home.
Man, Crystal, that's a great idea.
I know you. Now I'm like investment mind right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Crystal's one of our investors / mentors. So I know what her
Thank you
mind
for
is
that.
right now.
Y'all are asking me some really off the cuff questions.
Man,
I'm glad I
those
can
are
answer
good.
them for you though.
That's a really, 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 I got all excited with this one. I may do that, just especially if you're living in a house already and but they don't, builders don't like to sell to investors, right? Is that what I heard?
They can only sell it depends on the CCRs, like the requirements of the neighborhood. So there's only a
Oh.
certain percentage of them. Like the developer will sell, like if they sell 300 lots, they're only going to allow a certain amount of lots be turned into rental homes.
Oh, okay.
So it just depends how
Right.
many people have bought and rented it out. But most people come in there cash and buy it cash, and you can't really control what they do once they pay cash for it if they're an investor.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there's no form that says you must be an owner
If you go in there and buy a house with an FHA loan and then immediately put a rental sign in the yard and rent it out, I hope the bank doesn't find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
like
if
that
it's
could be one
cash,
fraud. But
if
if
it's
someone
cash-
comes in, if someone comes in and pays cash, they can do whatever they want with the house afterwards.
Yeah, because right here in my neighborhood, I live in Three Lakes, which is a Tomball. I noticed that there's houses that were brand new and they already have a for rent sign on them. And I'm thinking, how did that happen? But I'm thinking it's because they bought it cash. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Any other questions, goes? I know it's getting up to 9 o'clock at night, but I really appreciate everybody's time in joining, and Andrew's time too. It's a lot of good information, and he's an expert for sure in new home sales. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Okay. It doesn't look like it. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your time. I really appreciate your time. And like I said, we have an action plan with Maya she'll contact me just to make sure that she's got all her ducks in a row.
All right, sounds good.
but-
I had a
thank-
great time chatting with all of you guys, and I hope you go sell some new homes off of this.
Let's do it.
You know what I mean?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I know Langston's going to sell some new homes, right, Langston?
That's right, Fernando. Thank you guys so much. Definitely,
All right,
definitely a great lesson in training today. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you, Andrew. Good night,
No
everybody.
problem. Everyone have a great night. I'm gonna sign off now. All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.